It's that time of year again. The weather's starting to cool down, there's a slight breeze on evening walks, and oh, what's that? Suddenly I want to wear darker colors, light a candle at night, and maybe even put on Twilight for my annual rewatch.
This is so Twilight! Bella, where you been, loca?
Fall is here. And if you're in school right now, you probably already feel it, but where are my fellow Notion-obsessed, productivity-loving adults who still get this weird back-to-school itch even though we're not actually in school anymore? Tell me I'm not the only one who secretly misses back-to-school season, the fresh notebooks, the new pens, the first day outfits, even the thrill of setting up your binder tabs. That energy was unmatched. And September has always kind of felt like the real new year to me, way more than January, so this year I'm giving my adult life a September reset, treating it like a fresh semester of life. So if that sounds like something you're also into and would like to do, you have stumbled across the right corner of the internet today. I'm starting a little series on my channel here called my Fall 2025 Life Curriculum, and it's hosted by the very prestigious Department of Cozy Productivity and Romanticizing Adulthood, and it'll be instructed by me, Professor Alice, PhD in Romanticizing Fall, obviously. So basically it's me turning that nostalgia that we have for back to school season and turning it into something fun and useful as well. You can think of it as like a life syllabus. Each of these videos are going to be like a class, and there's going to be electives, readings, and even homework, but fun homework. So to give you a little series preview of what will be in store, we're going to cover everything from like building your dream life as a curriculum to romanticizing your work supplies to electives like cozy hobbies that feel like free therapy. And yes, there's even homework, but as I mentioned, the fun kind, because honestly, life after school, it doesn't really come with structure anymore, so sometimes I miss that, and I feel like this is a fun way to bring it back. Okay, but before I dive into today's class, I do want to explain something that I'll be using throughout the series, which is my digital garden, which some of you might know me for. You might have found my channel through my digital garden templates, but basically it's an online notebook for your brain, so you collect ideas, notes, resources, and reflections here, and in a way it feels alive and evolving. Unlike social media feeds, where it's just kind of like instant gratification of going through different feeds and seeing different things, this is a place of cultivation. So you're going to plant thoughts, and you'll revisit them and edit them and grow those ideas, and eventually they'll bloom over time. I have a whole video on my setup for this, but basically think of it as like having your own library or a study notebook for your adult life. Mine lives in Notion, and I actually just gave it a full fall makeover and included all the different parts of the series in that template as well. It's kind of set up like a course portal. There's like a monthly syllabus page, there's the electives, the reading lists, the homework lists. You don't need to follow along with mine. Honestly, pen and paper works fine, but if you do want a shortcut, I did make my Notion template available as well, and it's totally option, but I'll link it down below so you guys can use it to follow along if you really want to for the next 6 videos, my series. What matters really is just having a space where you can track your own curriculum for life, and that could be in a notebook or it could be in Notion, whatever you prefer. Okay, let's get into today's class, which is Life 101, Resetting Routines. So we're starting with the basics. Back to school season always had this built-in reset button, and you know, whether it was the new binders, new teachers, new schedules, and as adults, we don't really have that anymore. So what we can do is create it for ourselves. And here's how I'm resetting my life for September. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna start out with is I'm a big fan of kind of building yourself a tiny school supply, though it's not for school, obviously. But you know that feeling when you were younger and you got a new notebook or a pack of pens, and then suddenly you were convinced that you were going to be the most organized person alive. You're going to get all the A's that year, A++ on everything. There's actually a reason for that. So the small physical objects, they kind of act like anchors in our brain, and they tell us this is the start of something new. As adults, we can forget how powerful those cues are. So I want to tell you that buying yourself one small school supply isn't really about the item itself, it's about giving yourself permission to restart. So that could be gel pens, a new notebook, new highlighters, maybe it's a candle that you only light when you're starting work, or even like a desk mug that just makes you feel really happy and like you're stepping into the new season for fall, and having your morning coffee before you start your workday is just like heightened or elevated by having that object as well. And if you're on a budget, you don't need to splurge. What you can do is just pick up like a single notebook from the dollar store and perhaps label it Fall Semester of Life or something like like that. You can even use it to follow along with the series. Or you could repurpose something you already own, like a candle you've been saving, and declare it like, this is my September candle. I'm going to light this every single morning before I start work, and I'm going to feel like I'm in the fall mood and ready to be productive with my day. It's really just about making like a physical reset point, something that you can associate with fresh energy. So really like using these physical items to tell yourself you're stepping into this new semester. Another thing that can really help you with this new season is something I want to call the outfit trick. So think back to your first day of school when it was all about your outfit. At least I know for me it was. And it wasn't just about impressing people, really. It was more about how I felt walking in. And that same principle works now. So when you put on an outfit that makes you feel put together, your brain registers the day as important. It helps you feel more confident and more ready to tackle each task in a better way. So even if you work from home, dressing up Monday to Friday can completely shift your mindset. And I'm not saying heels or a suit. I'm just saying maybe it's a cozy sweater or jeans that are still comfortable but you really like, or even matching lounge set that just feels a bit more intentional. It's the difference between I just rolled out of bed, which I know I'm guilty for a lot of times in my sweatpants, and changing that to I'm showing up for myself. And if you're someone who struggles with decision fatigue in the morning, I suggest building yourself a tiny capsule wardrobe for fall. Pick like 5 outfits you love, rotate them throughout the week, and that way you still get a confidence boost without having to stress about like what I'm wearing the next day. And here's the underrated part, okay? It also makes spontaneously going out after work easier because you already feel dressed up for the day. This is especially for people who work from home. I know for me, if a friend hits me up last minute, like let's go out, and I'm just sitting in my sweatpants, I'm a lot less motivated to like get myself together to go out. Whereas if you're already feeling put together, it removes the friction of having to get ready and you're more likely to follow through with spontaneous plans. And it also really just helps me feel more encouraged to leave my house and also work from different locations every now and then, like the library or cute cafe or something like that. So highly suggest coming up with your little capsule wardrobe or like a rough plan of how to stay put together, especially for those working from home. All right, my next tip is to reset your desk or classroom, but for us it's the desk. So when you were a kid, the first day of school usually meant like rearranging your desk or setting up your locker. There was this real ritual of claiming your space for the school year, and you can kind of recreate that as an adult. So I want you to start by clearing everything off your desk, wiping it down, and only put back the things that you actually use or want to see, and add that one new element that signals a new season. So that could be the seasonal mug as mentioned, maybe even a playlist that you build and you keep on loop for the month of September while you're working, or even swapping your background on your computer to something like autumnal or like fall themed. And don't forget your devices too. I actually, with my phone and my tablet, I like to think of them as like modern day binders, and I customize them so that they're part of my season. So how I did that was you can really get into it and like change each widget and little icon. I made mine super fall themed. I think it's too focused on me. I'll put a screenshot on the screen. But yeah, you can literally customize your phone, your iPad, your computer to feel more like the fall season as well. Oh, another tip too, which I actually want to follow through with, is organize your apps into folders, kind of like classes. Those could be like work apps, or electives would be like hobby apps, like things that you use for maybe, for example, I use an app for bird watching. We'll get into that in a whole other video. Or like library could be like a folder for anything to do with reading or podcasts. And that might sound silly, but actually I think it helps you feel more intentional with your technology as well. And if you don't have a desk, like say you go into work and you have to move to whichever desk is available that day, you can do is create a portable classroom. So this could be a small tote bag or like a little basket with all your essentials, your notebook, your favorite pen, your chargers, maybe even a candle or blanket, like a little scarf that you can take with you to work to feel a little bit more cozy. And that way, wherever you set up, you have your mini little classroom with you. And another point I really want to hit on is that cozy rituals equal structure. So one of the biggest things we lose after school is that built-in structure. And, you know, the bell would ring, you'd move on to your next class. At home, there's no one ringing the bell. No one's ringing the bell at work. That's why rituals are so important, and they act like signals to your brain. So I like to start with my mornings. I've been rewriting my ideal fall morning routine. In my Notion template, I actually have one that works for both high energy and low energy morning routines. And I like to use this template whenever I'm getting back into the swing of things and I'm like maybe switching up my routine. I use it for the first week or so to like really just get it down, and then don't need to keep going back to the template every single day. So I suggest use my Notion template or even just write it on a piece of paper. Like, what is your ideal morning routine for fall? And it's going to be the one that you always come back to get back on track. Look at this list. So some examples could could be coffee, journaling, maybe a quick workout. Maybe you have a low energy morning routine as well. That's what I suggest, is to have 2 versions. Like if you're not really feeling it, your low energy one could just be like a coffee, opening your Notion to check your plan for the day, and maybe a slow walk, and that's it. So both versions are going to make you feel like you're moving forward still, which is why it's good to have 2. So write that on a piece of paper, maybe in your new little notebook, or you can use my Notion template, which makes it fun as well to set up a morning routine. But try add small cues throughout the day as well, which means, like, for example, lighting a candle, as I mentioned, when you start work, just really feeling like that's the start of the day. Or maybe it's like when you have your coffee, that's when you get to checking your emails. Play the same playlist while you're writing or studying, or maybe working on specific tasks. It's having consistent cues that like trick your brain into knowing when to start and when to stop. And then at night, you could swap the endless scroll for something more intentional. You could also work on your nighttime routine. Could be reading an essay, a chapter of a book, or like taking some notes with a podcast episode in the background. It doesn't have to be long, just like 10 minutes is enough to tell your brain, this is how we're ending the day. This is how we're chilling out for the evening. Okay, so with all that said, what's today's homework? This is my homework for week 1. One thing is to buy or create, with what you have, one small school supply. So pick something that feels like a reset for your space, whether that's a new candle, a fresh notebook, or even like a new pen that you know you're going to love writing with. Set that up, have that all ready to go. My second little homework assignment is a fall outfit challenge. For 1 week, Monday to Friday, I want you to dress in a cute fall outfit. So even if you're staying from home, make sure you also note down how your mindset feels when you show up each day when you try this experiment. So do it Monday to Friday. I'm going to try my best to do that this week too. My third homework point is a desk reset. So I want you to clear your workspace and then rebuild it like you're resetting up a classroom. Add a seasonal element, whether that's a playlist, a mug, or wallpaper for your computer. And if you're on your phone and your laptop or your iPad a lot, change your background to something more fall themed as well. And if you want to go the extra mile, customize your widgets, customize your folders on your phone, do what you can to make it feel like you're stepping into this new fall semester of life. And my last homework assignment is to choose a ritual cue. So create one start of class or start of the workday ritual. So whether that's lighting a candle when you start your work or making tea before you open your laptop. The point is though, one small repeated action that signals work mode to your brain before you start your day. And if you have your Notion template for this series, if you grab it after this video, I'll tell you where to grab it in a bit. Make sure to note your homework down in there too, so you can check off what you did this week, and you also can see ahead of time what my next videos are going to be and what the homework is by grabbing the Notion template today. And that's week 1 of the fall 2025 life curriculum. We've reset our space, we've refreshed our routines, and now we've set the tone for the semester ahead. And I really want to make sure that you stay tuned and get excited, because next week we're moving into, I think I called it Curio 201, which is build your life as a curriculum. And if this first lesson was about setting the stage, this next one is actually about writing your syllabus for life. So we're going to break down how to turn your personal goals into courses, how to create your own electives that you're in charge of. So sharpen your pencils. You'll be designing your own dream curriculum in the next video. And I really hope you guys enjoyed the start to this series. You know, September, as I mentioned, has always felt like the real new year to me. I feel the seasons change. You notice the light shifting earlier in the evenings, and suddenly there's this collective urge to reset. Back to school, that reset was kind of handed to us, whereas now as adults, we kind of have to create that for ourselves now. And I want to note that this series isn't about overhauling your entire life overnight, although the urge I have to do that most nights is crazy. But it's really more about layering those small anchors that bring that back to school feeling back into our lives and our routines. And I'm sure if you do the 4 points from this video alone this week, you're going to feel 99% more ready to embrace that September energy again. So I really, really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you all in the next class. Bye, friends.